Hello, everyone. So, my name is Magnus Nylander, and welcome to our little things eBazaar today. Today, the topic of today is smart buildings, and we have a great lineup of speakers. As always, we have an event partner, which is NCC, a prestigious, grand, large building company in Sweden, construction company in Sweden. And then we have 5 speakers from 5 of our corporate-ready companies at Things, who will share what they do with you. I will waste a couple of minutes of your time to make sure that we have everybody in place. So I will talk briefly about Things. We started Things 2014. It was Linda and me basically who started it, and the whole idea was to learn together with large and small companies how to transform innovation in small value creation in large companies, how to actually master that transformation. And our objective at Things has always been to enable lasting, sustainable business relationships between large companies or established companies and what we call innovation companies. So we're not really working with the early stage small companies. We are self-funded and work only with business, and all our companies are commercial and business oriented and ready for business. Our focus is industry, infrastructure, utilities, and mobility. And from a technology point of view, what they nowadays call deep tech. So everything that's really darn difficult is what we like to work with. Things like AI, computer vision, robotics, IoT, 3D scanning, all those kind of things are things that our companies work with. The reason why we believe this was a good idea was that we figured out, or we believe that established companies to a larger and larger degree lose control over their own domain. They have been very good at what they're doing, maybe best in the world, otherwise they would never have been big. But with the technological development, it's really hard to actually follow what's going on in every corner of the world. So we think that they really need small innovation companies, focused, sharp innovation companies to actually get on top of their own domain again. And the smaller innovation companies who deal with difficult technologies and difficult types of customers very much related to the physical world, like infrastructure and industry and so forth. They, we believe, need larger companies to actually help them scale quicker than if they have to do it themselves. So that's the whole idea. And currently we have collected something like almost 100 members of Things. And roughly half of them are innovation companies and basically Swedish innovation companies. We don't have any international ones yet, but we have just started to slowly and carefully to recruit also international companies like that. And the other half are corporates or established companies. 1/3 of those roughly are international, from Tokyo to Silicon Valley. So that's where we are today. We have another kind of 100 alumni companies as well. So we have difficulty to even remember the names of all the companies we've been working with. We are currently looking at finding and building relationship with similar organizations in other countries. Key markets for us are typically Germany, Italy, France, Spain, US, and UK. So we are on our way to form some partnership with people there to help our smaller companies to go abroad better and to help the larger companies to search for talent better across the borders. So with all of that, I just wanted to mention to you that if you don't know yet, there's something called Sweden Innovation Days, which takes place next week, November 17th to 19th. It's a huge event by Team Sweden, basically, where they want to prove how incredibly good we are at AI in Sweden. So we can have, all of us can have views of how good we actually are, but I think we are pretty much okay. So together with another 9 countries, we have gathered 260 AI companies from those 10 countries and another 72, I think, corporates. And in the end of this event, there is a matchmaking between all those companies. And right now, I can tell you that we have 17 of the AI companies are from Things members, and 11 of the corporates are also Things members. So I think we have a pretty good position in this kind of space. And in the event, we actually managed the relationship with Germany and Japan for the event. So I think with all of that, we are should all be ready to start now. So I guess everybody has been able to log in and so forth. So I hope you sit comfortably now and are ready for a great inspiration and energetic kind of little session here. So let's start the whole thing by asking if Fredrik Vernersson at NCC is there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Great, Fredrik. So why don't you give us an update on NCC and your views on smart buildings? So good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Screen and take it away.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. And this is an area which we are thinking is important. I just share my short presentation. For those of you that don't know NCC, what we do, my name is Fredrik Vernersson. I'm leading our strategy work and operations development work on a group level at NCC. And some of the things that I think about when I get the time and opportunity is how we can deal with sort of smart buildings, because as we build buildings, our clients ask them to be smart, but our customers also need sometimes a little bit help to understanding that they can do smart things with their buildings. A little facts about NCC. We are active in the Nordic region, and we're one of the big players in the Nordic region. We are like to be famous for our construction expertise, and I just want to bring this a statement just to say that that's why we want to be on the front line and on the edge when it comes to smart buildings, best ways of working, etc. We had a turnover of 58 billion Swedish crowns. That's roughly 5.5 billion euros last year. And we had roughly 15,500 employees last year. So that's a little bit about NCC. When we talk about smart buildings, we see them popping up in all kinds of aspects. And we see them popping up both from the owners of the houses, and we see them popping up for also the tenants and services. And the way that we have now described our focus on smart homes is centered around three things. It's centered around construction process support, the way that we actually can have smart buildings when we build them. It's actually something which is very important now, making sure that we optimize the temperature, for example, when we have, when the concrete is drying out, and also drying, making sure that we understand humidity and drying, how dry certain areas are. So this is quite an important area for us in terms of actually, whether this is smart home or not, we need to be smart here. But also the second area we focus on is what we call tenant and owner support. And that's maybe two different interests. Sometimes it's just for the comfort of the tenant, but sometimes it's for the business acumen of the owners. The specific areas that we're focusing on are temperature, ventilation, and energy conservation, where we have run some pilots quite successfully. And the last area where we've been, I know maybe you don't see this now, is artificial intelligence and edge computing. How can we bring as much of the computing out to where the building is itself? That's also something we're working on. And artificial intelligence is very high on our agenda, not only for smart buildings, but also for other areas in terms of how we, for example, use drones in our construction. So this is a little bit about our agenda going forward and our agenda right now and who we are and why we think this is so interesting. That's all I had to say.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Fredrik. And we just need to throw ourselves into our next presentation, which is Stefan. Are you there, Stefan? From the West Coast, all the way here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, you're there.
See if I'm also able to share my screen.
That would help. It's working.
So, perfect. Thank you.
And presentation mode. Yes, great.
Yes.
Take it away, Stefan.
Thank you, Magnus. So my name is Stefan Lindgren. I'm the CTO of Talkpool, and we are very much into the Internet of Things since many years back. So first, some short words about Talkpool. We are an international, or we are funded since year 2000. We are a listed company on the first Nasdaq First North in Stockholm, and we are operating in three main areas. We are building all kind of infrastructure when it comes to networks. We do IoT solutions, and we also produce our own IoT sensors. The IoT core centers are here in Sweden, based in Gothenburg. And we've been operating LoRa networks since 2016. So that is really the focus when it comes to the IoT parts. The Talkpool group, we are active in Europe, in Central America, and in the Middle East and Africa, with about 1/3 of our revenue in each major region. More specifically to the business unit IoT, we are focusing on smart buildings and PropTech. And what we're doing there is that we're digitizing the buildings with wireless sensors and meters. So we think that wireless is kind of the key answers, how to handle all a lot of the existing buildings where you don't have the opportunity to have wires and canals where you can draw wires all about. So IoT, in our view, is that you shouldn't be doing it's all wireless. So we're having in-house developed sensors, software, and solutions, and we have four main areas. We are doing all kind of meterings, and that we are doing for some of companies like Atrium Ljungberg, Profi Fastighet, Vasakronan, and B-meters. We do damage preventions. We're working with Folksam, Anticimex, NCC. We're working with NCC Central Sustainability Group for some of the parts that was presented before. We're doing a lot of optimization, so not just knowing the status of a building, but also to see how we can optimizing it. And that we're doing it together with Myrsboen, which is a partner to us. And we are having an AI-based system where we can optimize the airflow, ventilation, air quality, and energy consumption. Then we are having projects running with Klöven, Novi Real Estate, Kofast, Brunswick, and Lundbergs Fastighet. And the last part is the integrated business, where that comes from the telecom area. We are integrating our control and communication parts into other domains, products or solutions. For example, B-meters are manufacturing water meters, and we have made their meters smart. The same goes for Sense Air that are leading in carbon dioxide sensing. That we have put their sensor that is typically built into the Honeywell or Schneider Electric systems. We also done that so they can be a standalone product for easily deployment. And as well with Puros, where we're having a smart drain. So water damages are one of the largest costs for the insurance companies. And together with Puros, we have now developed a drain where we're actually measuring whether the water seal is working in the bathroom or not. So we get an early indication before we are having a damage. And lastly, we have done integration, a product together with Radonova that measures radon in the air. We are coming from the low part of the kind of infrastructure. So our expertise is really on the hardware, radio, protocol parts. That is really our home turf, as well as the security aspects of it, since we are coming from the telecom industry, most of us. And we are both doing the hardware and communication, but also doing the data capturing and the big data part of it, where we are taking the data and integrated it into different systems for further value creation or for going into existing infrastructure. Typically, it is very seldom that we are coming to a green field when it comes to a building. There is always a lot of legacy systems, and our key expertise are how to integrate. So the new meters will be an integrated part of the full solution. So we don't really think that companies are interesting of a forklift replacement, but rather to having a very cost-efficient way to add intelligence and add observability of the buildings in a very easy way. When it comes to AI, we are dipping our toes to it. We are mainly working with partners when it comes to the AI, and especially Myrsboven when it comes to the smart building optimization, which I will go more into detail here shortly. So to summarize what kind of the offerings that we do that within smart buildings, that is energy savings, that we are saving energy when it comes to heating or cooling, together with the optimization part of it. At the same time, and the way that we are doing that is that we are implementing wireless sensors in the building, which measure the carbon dioxide, temperature, humidity, also particles in sometimes, and radon in sometimes. And then we are optimizing the full performance of the building, making a digital twin of the building, and having this as big optimization problem. And we are pushing down the new parameters to the existing HVAC system in order to optimizing set temperatures or flows. And we're also taking in predictions when it comes, for example, to weather forecast or energy prices into this to the optimization problem. With the different meters, we're also doing a lot of building automation. So we are measuring water, electricity, gas, energy, and having direct integration so we can feed the existing building systems, or that we can push bills directly to the clients. Another important part and kind of bearing part of the business case of smart buildings, that is green building certification. One of the reasons why real estate owners are interested is, of course, both for the sustainability of the building, but also that having a sustainable building that is certified according to international standards, make it available to the on the international market when it comes to buildings, and also that you can apply for green bonds, which typically is lowering the interest rate with several points. And lastly, damage prevention. So having control of water leakages, molding condition, radon, etc., and making an early intervention before the problems are really getting large. It is of great interest. For example, we're doing this quite a lot in new constructs, where we are putting our temperature humidity sensors up in the attics, in the cold roof of a building, and that we're measuring that the forced ventilation is actually working, and that it's not stopping working, which unfortunately happens, and getting an indication that everything is working as okay. And here we can also say about the smart drain that we are currently deploying now out in field together with Folksam, where the water sensing is an integrated part of the drain in the bathrooms. So we get an early indication if the water seal is broken or if there is a jam in the drain. So we can do an just partial reparation of the building instead of a total replacement. Together with NCC and a lot of insurance companies and RISE, we currently are running a large-scale project where we are more seeing how to develop this and how to minimize the reparation in these cases. So instead of ripping out the full bathroom, we can just replace a few tiles and the drain, and then put everything back again to maybe a tenth of the cost compared to a full replacement. When it comes to the air quality supervision and control, we're doing a lot of supervision of temperature, humidity, to having the real-time monitoring and ventilation control, the carbon dioxide, that also taking into account the people load, the particles, where we can have the either smog or from traffic to see if the filters are okay, but also in producing industry like welding and grinding process to see that the very fine particles from this process are not leaking into office areas, or also keeping in within limits within the workshop. And lastly, the radon measurements, both as a measurement instrument for radon consultancies to put out in schools or at workplaces during a measurement period and during an optimization of the building, to see that they are able to control down the radon level to the compliance level. But also in cases where they are close to the boundaries, making sure that the buildings are not over ventilated either, to making sure that the radon level are on the right level when people are in the buildings, but for example, lowering the energy consumption during night or weekends, or when nobody is in the building. And that we're working with Radonova, that is one of the leading companies when it comes to this trace, or more the film exposure parts, which is typically done for radon compliance measurements. And there are economics in this, so that there is a huge interest from the market to actually do this. And this is a case with an AI-based energy optimization that we've been running together with Cleven. And this is, I should actually change the project, since this is one of the least performing projects, but yeah, this is an early slide and I haven't changed it since I made it. But it is a 12,000 square meters building with a rental of 19 million SEK and an energy cost of 750,000 Swedish crowns per year. There we added 70 carbon dioxide sensors. These were integrated into the existing Schneider HVAC system. And we have an optimization cost of 45,000 Swedish crowns per year. And we're getting an energy and electricity reduction of 8%. It is not huge. We sometimes in other buildings we have reached rather up to like 20-25%. But even with this kind of single digit reduction, we still have a return on investment of 35%. Another leading part that is the building automation and green building certification, either with the BREEAM or with LEEDs. And then we're measuring the water, the energy, the electricity, and we are both integrated to the building system as well as energy declaration system. And the business case here, this is together with Atrium Ljungberg and the commercial district Sickla in the southern part of Stockholm. It's a fairly large commercial area with 78,000 square meters, 168 tenants. And there we did the building automation and the green building certification. And the cost is about 250,000 per year for them to run this. And just the financial cost gave them a saving of several millions every year. And also that since sustainability is such an important part of all building owners, the data from the meters goes directly into the annual reports of the buildings here. So to summarize, so our offering is that we are doing smart building solutions with wireless sensors and meters. And we also is a design partner. So either if you're having a building that want to improve the maintenance of, you improve the visibility of the building, as well as doing optimization. Or if you do have meters or analog parts that you would like to get smart, please take a contact with us and we can help you on the travel to really smart buildings in a very short time. Any questions or comments?
Sorry, we don't have time for that, Stefan. This was great. Thank you so much, but we just have to move forward. You were a little long today.
Okay, sorry for that.
That's fine. You were right on time, and no questions. Sorry, but all the attendees will get your contact data afterwards. So there will be a lot of questions too on your email or whatever. Thank you so much, Stefan. And let's jump to the next speaker, which is Sebastian Haglund. Are you there, Sebastian? Sebastian?
Yes, I am.
Great.
Okay.
Great. So take it away. Share your screen and tell us about Rebase.
Absolutely, I will. So hello, everyone. I hope you can see my screen now. It's loading here.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so my name is Sebastian Gaidi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Rebase Energy. We're an early stage startup based here in Stockholm, I think. And our vision is to empower tomorrow's energy innovators, which of course includes smart buildings and helping with data and tools to achieve a 100% renewable energy system. So this is our team. It's me, we're based. We're basically a lot of energy engineers, data scientists, coding experts that want to fight climate change with code. So very short introduction. So we, as I mentioned, we're early stage. We started 2 years ago. As part from KTH, we've been working with several energy companies and also ABB on implementing optimization and energy forecasting solutions. And now we're in 2020, we're having our go-to-market year. We've been launching our products, and I will tell you a little bit more about all those today. So basically, but first an introduction. So basically, yesterday's energy system was very stable. So you have stable generation and stable consumption, and in tomorrow's system you have much more volatile production. And I was actually working as an energy trader here, so I saw it from the inside. But not enough with that. You actually have distributed generation being implemented at lower levels of the voltage grid, which also increase complexity of the whole system. And of course, you have all this what comes to smart buildings and smart homes with behind the meter solar, EV charging, and even energy communities, energigemenskaper, which are coming up now from European legislation. And of course, in order to balance and orchestrate such a complex system, we need smart agents to do that. And that's where we come in with our data and tools. So basically, what's a smart agent? Well, a smart agent is an entity that takes in data. We already talked about it in earlier presentations, from weather data, energy market data, and asset data. We make some kind of energy forecast, we optimize, and then we can actually send control signals to buildings and actually save energy and also CO2 and money by doing so. We develop 2 products. One is our data hub, where we collect and aggregate a lot of different energy-related data under one roof and provide it to other energy innovators that wants to build up optimization tools on top of that. And we also building up a toolkit, an open source Python-based toolkit that allows to develop machine learning and AI solutions for forecasting and optimization. Okay, so what type of data do we collect? Well, I already mentioned it. We collect data from weather data, everything from the big weather forecast data to cloud satellite data, etc. We collect data from the assets, and we collect data from energy markets. We're also developing the platform, as I mentioned, which we're launching right now. So anyone that's interested will be possible to get a beta of this platform. It allows you to develop machine learning solutions for energy optimization, such as energy forecasting, and also controlling of distributed energy resources like batteries and PVs. It's based on an open source toolkit, so everything is available on our GitHub page. Our business model around this is when it comes to the data, is that we provide the data as an API-based business model. So we charge per API request, and on the platform we provide code for free as an open source license. But then we provide also platforms around that for monitoring and deployment of models, which we charge for as a software as a service business model. Okay, just to be a little bit more concrete, I would like to tell you a little bit about a case that we've been doing with ABB Optimax in Germany. So basically, this was the case. ABB, of course, they are providing a lot of automation equipment and software, and this is a factory in Ludenscheid in Western Germany, and where they decided to also install 1.5 megawatt peak solar installation, and they also have batteries. They have EV charging below this solar plant, and they also have some flexible loads that can be controlled. They make some kind of fashionable switches and lights here in this factory. It's called Busch Jager. So basically what the ABB team asked us is if we can provide them a forecast of the solar energy power so that they can basically look into the future and allow to optimize the energy flows. And that's exactly what we did. And this is how it looks like. Using our platform, we can just set up a site, put in some coordinates and orientation tilt, drag and drop a file with historical generation data, or just upload that through the API, and out comes an energy forecast and can be put into other systems through APIs to help optimize things like battery dispatch and supply and demand of the buildings. We calculated a reduction in forecasting error compared to the current system at ABB by 30%, which would have a back of envelope calculation reduction in greenhouse gases by 15%. And we were actually the winner of ABB Industrial AI Accelerator as a part of this effort. Okay, we're also now developing a solution to help calculate efficiency of buildings, smart buildings, using an open source project called Open Energy Meter. So basically you have all these energy audits, and if you give 3 different consultancy companies the same building and material, they will come up with 3 different answers. So we believe that more open source and standards are needed in this area. And there are actually open source projects as part of Linux Foundation Energy track, and we are basing our methodology based on that. So everything is open source and inspectable. So basically what it does, it calculates the heating degree days and cooling degree days for a baseline period, and then benchmark that against evaluation or reporting period. And this can be used, for example, to benchmark and see how good are these optimization AI systems that were presented earlier today, or some other measures that are implemented in the smart building. And this, of course, helps to pay for performance and estimate the potential benefit of implementing such solutions, as well as highlighting or spotting the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to your building portfolio for energy optimization. Okay, that's everything for me. So if this is interesting for you, we're actually building up this service as we speak. So reach out to me if it's interesting. We will provide the first couple of interested people a free test of our platform when it comes to this energy monitoring and benchmarking. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you, Sebastian. Let's see if we have any questions here for you. You were quick, as always. No questions on the chat. So can you just tell briefly, because we have some investors with us as well, can you tell us briefly about the state of your company?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are a pre-seed company. We're raising our seed investment by beginning of next year, Q1 next year. We have a couple of thousand in MRR. We have our first paying customers in Sweden, both when it comes to energy trading and also energy aggregating companies. And we're doing right now, actually, we're doing several pilots with utility companies in Sweden and Finland.
Okay, great. Well, since we don't have any other questions, and I know you very well, so I have no questions more to. So thank you so much, Sebastian, and good luck with your launch.
Thank you. Thank you, Magnus.
Don't forget to unshare your screen, please. And let's see, do we have Katarina with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. Very welcome, Katarina. And well, share your screen and take it away.
Thank you very much. So let's see. Tell me what you see. Can you see my PowerPoint presentation first here?
It's coming now, yes.
It's coming up.
Perfect.
All right, super. So I'm Katarina from Spotscale. And Spotscale, we provide super detailed 3D models of built areas for real estate owners. And our algorithms create detailed 3D models from close-up imagery, and that's typically drone imagery, which makes very good documentation of a building's condition. And our algorithms decode the building structure and quantifies the visible envelope, so we can extract data sets such as windows, roofs, facades, doors, or other things. You can find cracks in the facades, for example. When we started out, we did a lot of work on the visualization, and the technology that's going from images to very accurate 3D models. And they were mostly used by architects and real estate developers that wanted to show how a new development was going to look next to an old building, for example. But as the drone photography are maturing and is used more and more to document and inspect the physical environment around us with buildings, there can be cracks in facade. I mentioned old concretes. You want to know the condition of a roof. Is it time to change the tiles on the roof, for example? If you put an extra camera with infrared on your drone, you can find energy leakage in a building envelope. You can document destroyed buildings, for example. That's interesting for the insurance market after a building has burned down or been damaged in other ways. So we saw this market mature more and more, and we added more and more analysis of the images that we collect, so we can address these kind of questions. So today, our customers, they use our 3D buildings for inspection and analysis of the buildings. You can measure very accurately on the models. If you have infrared cameras, you can find energy leakages, but you can also add you can take our 3D models and add them in other 3D environments to make other experiences. So I'm going to switch now. Let me talk about this a little bit first. So how it works is you collect images. You can have your own drone. I'm sure some of you that are listening, you have your own drone operations, maybe in-house. If you don't, we take care of that as well. So images are taken and uploaded to our cloud, where they are processed into this nice visually looking 3D model, but you can also get a lot of data extracted from it. We present it online, so it's easily accessible for anyone who wants to use it. You can collaborate on the 3D model. You can annotate, take measurements, and use all the inspection tools. Let's see how this works. I'm going to switch to an actual model. Do you see a building here on the screen now?
Perfect.
So here's an example. So 2 buildings here, south of Sweden. They are ready for renovation. You can see the facades here are a bit cracked up. You can zoom in and get a quite good resolution. I have a problem. I don't see my cursor anymore. So I might actually switch back to the presentation. Let's give it a try. So I'm going to have a look here, closer in. I'm going to zoom into an image here. And since this 3D model is generated from all those images that are taken, I can easily switch between them, and I can zoom into the image is always going to have the best possible resolution, even if the 3D model looks really nice as well. So here I can zoom in and see how bad this is. I'm just going to need to rearrange this on my screen. Sorry. What we also get out of this is already calculated for example, how much facade do we have here? If we want to take in quotes on the renovation of this building, we want to know how big it is. We can measure this. We can measure it in many ways, but this is probably the easiest. If we have documented the building, we will know that now that we have 1,000 square meters of facade. The roof is 823 square meters. So this is a good way of documenting this building in this, how it is looking right now. Out of the inspection, we have, this is probably a few hundred or even a few thousand images that look quite a lot of the same. So it's a nice way to organize them and keep them for the future. I'm switching to another model now. This is a chimney in concrete. I'm going to zoom in. I hope you can see this as well. So we often get the question about what kind of resolution can you get if you do this? And that depends a little bit about the images you capture and how close you get and with what resolution camera. But this one is down to about 1 millimeter per pixel. So as I zoom in, you can see very detailed cracks here in the concrete, which is interesting for someone who's doing inspection of concrete. And here as well, you can imagine I have about a few thousand of images of close-up concrete, but thanks to this, I know where they're all located. So I can have a look at this specific crack here and get all the images that are captured of that spot and also do measurements. I mentioned if you add, you can add an infrared camera. This is a project we have done together with Fleed, the infrared camera developer. If we have imagery, we can add this as an extra layer on top of the building to find energy leakages. I mean, reasons for energy leakages in buildings can be here, newer buildings attached to older ones. There can be water leakages on the roof. After you have shoveled snow, you can damage the roof, for example. So this is a nice way of actually organizing all those infrared images as well to see where we have energy problems in a building. So I think I'll stop with a live demo there. I hope you saw that. I'm happy to share those links. They are actually on our websites. If you want to zoom in and spin them around and try the tools for yourself, you can have a look. Probably easier to get an understanding than me showing them. And so how does it work? If you want to buy this, how do you do? We have a calculator on the website. Price depends on the complexity of the model, the size of the buildings and the size of the area, what quality you need in your model, and the data you need to extract. What you pay for is the processing of the data and also hosting the model on the platform and the tools. And I think my time is running out as well. So I'll stop there. My contact info is here. We're looking for collaborations. We have people all over the world uploading images and processing models on our cloud, both companies that have their own drone operations and not. So we're open to collaborate and white label solutions, and yeah, just reach out.
Wonderful, Katarina. No, you're not wasting our time. You are enjoying us a lot, and you are well in time. So I don't have any questions on the chat yet. Yes, I have. Where have you found the best business cases? The question.
The best business cases, as I said early on, it was in the real estate development part of the real estate business, but we are pivoting towards maintenance and inspection, where there's an urgent need to know how a building is doing or a concrete structure is doing. And you collect you collect a lot of data with drones today. So to organize that and to get the best possible analysis out of that is where we see our best cases right now. And the options you have there when you need to if you have a building such as the one on the on the screen now, your option there is to actually climb it, or yeah, to get if you want to inspect the facade, you need to go all over that. So there, the drone is your number one choice, and to get the most out of the images, I think we have a very good solution for that.
Great. So what about what stage of the company is Spotscale today?
We're doing business. We don't have a huge turnaround yet, but we're doing business in the real estate and infrastructure sector. So we don't have a huge sales organization. So we're a technology company still, but we have mature technology that is ready to be used. But we are now leveraging that through partners. We are recently signed a partner agreement with Core. They're very large on real estate maintenance in Sweden, and so they are now taking our technology out to their customers. They have a lot of plants all around Sweden that they take care of. So now they're gonna offer this service to their customers. So that's where we like to be business-wise at the moment, before we have a large sales organization of our own.
Great. Well, if I might, I can tell you're in very good hands, because Core is one of the best companies I know of in Sweden when it comes to dealing with growing up companies like yours. So very good. Thank you so much, Katarina, and good luck onwards. Unshare your screen, please.
Yes.
And I will ask Claes to show up. Are you there, Claes?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. From Skåne, from south.
Yeah, from the
I'm
south of
also
Sweden.
proud because we cover Sweden very nicely. People
Okay.
say we are only in Stockholm, but we are actually almost not in Stockholm.
Okay.
So share your screen and take away, Claes.
Yeah, I will. So have you got it up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
So my name is Claes Aurell, and I'm the export manager of Enjay. It's the company founded in 2015, and I've been on the company for 3 years soon. We are 18 employees at the moment. We have our head office in Malmö, and we have employees in Gothenburg and Stockholm in Sweden. We also have a company in Holland that is serving the Benelux market, and we have a company in Germany, in Heidelberg, serving the German market, the Austrian market, and the Swiss market. So we are scaling up at the moment. We have a representation of a person in the USA, and he is working with the big clients over there and making some tests on the European market for them. So in 2021, we are starting up in US, France, and Spain for our own companies. So I would like to bring you on to a presentation. Enjay is a Swedish green tech company specialized in energy efficiency. Our first innovation is the world's first profitable recovery system for restaurant installation. Today, there are more than 50 million restaurants in the world that are putting their energy out to the ambient air, just wasting it. So our mission is to recover that energy. So what's the problem with restaurant ventilation? Why doesn't it work in the proper way as it is? It's because of the grease and soot that goes out of the ventilation system from the kitchen. It's clogging up the old system. So we are saying that the traditional heat exchangers do not work in restaurant ventilation. So what do we mean by that? This is two curves. This is the effect and it's a time curve. So let's see. In every heat exchanger, the effect decreases when the battery gets contaminated, and especially when it's in restaurant ventilation, because there's a lot of high levels of grease and soot in them. Filter techniques are used to purify the air, but only manage to reduce the levels by 4 to 13%. Cleaning and shifting of the filters results in a high maintenance cost. And to get it done properly, you have to do it once a week during to Rise, who has been looking into this last year. So traditional systems do not work. The costs exceed the savings of the energy. So we have developed and patented Lepido, which is the first and only energy recovery unit in the world that can survive in this hostile environment. The energy that we recover, we bring back into the entire building. By a heat pump, we deliver the energy either as heating up the building or cooling down the building. So the unique thing is not the heat pump. The heat pump is built to be perfect in balance with our battery. And the battery is really the thing here. So grease and soot just passes right through the coil battery. Some amount of it will be collected inside the battery. No specific requirement of pre-filtration on it. Non-ongoing maintenance required on it. So there's 2 innovations and 2 patent families on it. It's a state-of-the-art aerodynamics and the self-cleaning freezing process. The state-of-the-art aerodynamics is the way that the coils inside the battery it's built. So it's easy for the air to go through, but it's also built up in a way so the grease and soot shouldn't clog it up too much. And it's also built in a way so we can recover the energy in a very good way from the restaurant ventilation. The freezing self-cleaning process, it's a process that goes on every day. When you close down the restaurant, the kitchen fan closes down and then it's starting the process. So in normal operation, it's a natural condensation on the coils inside. Stray grease particles collide with the adhesors to the coil. Coolant temperature pushes below 0, so we turn the heat pump the other way, so it's cooling down the battery below 0. The grease particle loses its adhesiveness on the coils. And the fan starts and the temperature increases. The ice around it melts. And together it all falls down to the bottom of the coil. So in the battery, so it goes out to the grease duct that is built into every restaurant in the world. So examples of applications that we can do. We can do heat ventilation, it's quite traditional. We can do air conditioning, cooling. We can do not at the same time, but we can change. For instance, we have a restaurant in Lund that is in the summertime wants the cooling, and in the wintertime they need the warming up. So it's changing during the temperature outdoors. We can do tap water preheating, underfloor heating, radiators heating, air curtains heating, and pool heating. And in different projects, we pick out what will be the best for that building that we're returning the energy to. It could be pool heating together with air curtain heating, or it can be heating ventilation together with radiator heating. It depends on the project. So traditional system doesn't work over time. It costs more than it's recovering. So that's a big problem for the market. But Lepido is profitable all the way through. And the ROI for Lepido is in between 1.5 up to 4 years, depending on the time that the restaurant is working and the sizes of the batteries. So finally, costs is lower than savings. Business segments that we work in, fast food chains, hotel restaurants, conference centers, governmental buildings, shopping malls, food courts, schools, etc. And we also have a maritime side where we're working with some of the biggest cruising companies in the world and some of the vessel owners to introduce this to the kitchens in the ships, because it's a lot of waste going on there. Fast food chains, it's quite special. We are selected by Burger King in Scandinavia. So we are proposed to get into all the new rebuildings of Burger Kings, and it will be like 25 a year in Scandinavia. And now looking into 250 Burger Kings that really exist on the market to do some retrofit in them. We're also looking into the chains from Five Guys USA, the big chains in the States, and some on the European market as well. We also have Shop, that is a Swedish company that has 22 restaurants around Sweden. So the more money our customers save, the bigger is the environmental impact. So wasting energy is no longer an option. Thank you for me, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Claes. Very well, very interesting. I love this whole idea, as you know. I have a question from the audience there. So what are the possible savings in terms of energy and money? What are the lowest hanging fruits when it comes to optimization?
It is actually when you are building a new restaurant or you're building a new building, it's the easiest way to get libido in. And I would say that the ordinary Burger King restaurant that is driven 16 hours a day, it will have about between 85,000 to 125,000 kilowatts back a year. And that is about the same amount in money for that type of restaurant.
Right. And and you are, oh, there's a new question here. Hold on a second. Well, it's a cool product, Claes.
Yeah.
It was more like sharing. So I think we have no more questions. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you for being with us, Claes, and good luck onwards.
Thank you very much. Really nice talking out there.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we'll jump to the last speaker for today, which is Hans. Vourity, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. There you are. So share your screen and take it away.
Yeah. So there you go. So I guess you see my screen now.
Yeah, perfect.
My name is Hans Nottehed. I'm the CTO and founder of a company called Vourity. And today's topic is obviously smart buildings. And Vourity is a cloud-based platform for self-service payments, sales, and delivery. And we try to find ways for property owners and property developers to actually make money by creating new revenue streams. If you are familiar with buildings, they are quite static by design, and buildings typically require some significant upfront investments, and the property developers then try to hope that at some point they will start earning money down the road in the future. But saying that buildings are static, that is sort of the opposite of how the world is. The world is always changing, and especially this year with COVID-19, it's very evident that we have to embrace a more flexible approach to handling buildings and trying to make revenues from buildings. So, for example, many property owners have challenges this year with their tenants, restaurants, shops, and so forth, that have lost a lot of customers and even have to close down. So when we are talking to property owners, they are asking and trying to find ways, how can we transform the building into a marketplace? They're struggling and finding ways to generate new revenue streams. So if we look at, for example, traditional access control systems, they typically look like this. It's some sort of black box on the wall that gives you a green light if your access card is accepted, or a red light if it's not accepted. When the access control is installed, it's pretty much there and it stays there for 10 years. Nothing much happens. But what if we could actually make the access control a source of revenues instead of just being a cost that's stuck to the wall? So at Vourity, we introduce a next generation of access control. It's the terminal that you see here on the picture. It's actually a device that enables property owners to accept payments, create new services. It's a fully modular solution that can change over time with the change of needs on the buildings and the properties. And this could, for example, enable something we call paid access, where property owners and property developers can start getting paid for services 24/7 without any human interaction. For example, if you have a building and you suddenly have to change it into a co-working space, or you're changing to a sports arena or so forth, you can use the payment terminals to get paid for example, meeting rooms, public restrooms, even car wash and so forth. We can open doors, control turnstiles, and so forth. Or introduce various types of selling products and services in machines, like vending machines, arcade games, of course, coffee machines, and those are traditional ones for facility management, but there is all types of situations where you want to sell a product without human interaction, and even getting 24/7 sales. Could even be container retail shops for less populated areas. You start seeing a rollout of click and collect, where you have some sort of delivery boxes in various types of buildings. And we propose that we can use open and neutral delivery boxes instead of every delivery provider having their own in every building. And also making a bit more smart booking and resource sharing of resources in the building. For example, laundry rooms, sauna, meeting rooms, but also sharing things like tools and other equipment in multi-tenant buildings, for example, and so forth. Of course, EV charging, providing parking and charging for visitor cars outside the buildings, but also at the same time getting paid for this service and the energy provided. So the way to do this is to use the Vourity POS 3. This is a all-in-one point of service and payment terminal for unattended sales. So it means self-service, where you're selling services and products without any human interaction. You can accept on-the-spot payments using all traditional credit cards, Apple Pay, Google Pay, as well as mobile payment options, and so forth. We also support the traditional access control things like key cards, RFID cards, PIN codes, and so forth. Multi-language, and also handling fast security updates. So we can roll out security updates as new security threats become available or presented to the market. But the solution is actually fully modular, so you can change the behavior and the operation of the terminals as the behavior and needs change of the building. So if you suddenly have to introduce payments for introducing a co-working space, for example, then you can add payment modules to the terminal just by pushing it from our cloud solution. There is no change of hardware or any installation changes. You just select new modules from the cloud and push the new features. Could use bank ID or eID to identify customers or verify the age of the users. You can introduce delivery options, booking of resources, and so forth. Compared to a traditional access control system, of course, we are very graphical in how we use it and present the information to the customer. So it's much easier for the customer and the user to understand what is actually going on and what's expected by them at the door, for example. We can even take it further to define in detail how the terminal should operate and how the access control should work to support various types of markets and various types of cases by graphically drawing a workflow of how the terminal should behave, what payment options should be available, what relays or what electronic locks it should open, and so forth, without any coding or software development. This can be done typically within 5 to 10 minutes, and then you have a template for how to control or sell your services or control your doors. Everything is managed from our cloud. We're obviously a cloud-based service, so there is no local installations to be done except the terminals itself. Vourity as a company very much adhere to a sustainable business, and we follow and try to follow as many as possible of the UN global goals. So with our platform, we enable companies to support their local communities and create new business opportunities, and hopefully providing a little bit of a better place in the world. Happily get in touch. Here are my contact details, and we're open to any customer requests.
Great. Thank you, Hans.
Thank you.
Very good. And you are so well in time as well. So let's see. I don't think I have any. No, I don't have any questions from the audience. Can you tell us a little bit about the state of your company, Hans?
Yes, sure. So the company was founded 2 years ago, and we've been developing in hiding. So we launched the company in September. So we just started discussing with customers, and have received quite a lot of interest for obvious reasons. With COVID-19, there is interest to start selling and making revenue in a self-service manner. So the company is self-funded for now, but we anticipate that soon when we start scaling, we'll probably have to involve some investors, but so far self-funded.
Maybe you should add a button on your box where people can buy shares in the company.
Good idea. Thank you very much.
So no, you are a typical, what I think, great type of company to work with from things point of view, because I know that you have done companies before, and that's a very good kind of merit when you start a new company. So a lot of the more successful companies we work with actually are started by people who did it before, many times maybe. So I think that's a good one. So good luck, even though you surfaced in September. I think you're doing very well. So with all of that, thank you so much, everyone, for spending your time with us. And thank you so much for all the companies presenting themselves. You will all get an email afterwards with an opportunity to give us feedback, because we intend to continue doing the eBazaars. And also you can drop me an email or call or something if you have any specific on your mind or any feedback. So with all of that, I'm glad that we finished well in time, which is great. And thank you so much, and have a good rest of the day. Thank you. Bye-bye.